Hey there and welcome to my second tutorial. Today we want to build up on the stuff we've already done and learned last week. So yeah, we already know how to set up a game scene in Unity, how to use 3D objects or how to get 3D objects in there, how to use some basic scripting. And yeah, what we want to do today is to connect everything with a VR scene, so to get the Steam plugin into Unity. And then, yeah, maybe let's build a nice VR showroom. So, yeah, what we can yeah, show around as long as somebody has a SteamVR supported headset, like for example the HTC Vive. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, in the description, I uploaded a little showroom example scene, and I want to show you guys first how everything will look like in the end. So as you can see, this is a basic example. I've used most of the interactions and modules the SteamVR plugin provides. So as you can see, there's basic teleporting in there, and you can move things around by dragging and dropping things and controllers. And yeah, like you can see, there are some video assets in there, 3D assets, and PNGs and JPEGs. So basically, after this tutorial, what you can do is use this basic example scene and then put in your own showroom content. Yeah, the angry cows scene is in there as well. So, but now there's no need for a slingshot or a cannon, so you can just throw these metal bullets onto the wall to destroy the structure of it. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Yeah, first of all, download the zip package. I've also added into the YouTube comments. And as soon as this is done, just open it and unzip it. And what you should do is add it to your workspace folder. So in workspace Unity, or however your workspace is called. Add a new folder in here, which is maybe called HTC Vive. Oops. Showroom 2020. And then put the stuff which is inside of our zip package into this folder. Here we go. As this is a project which is already downloaded to our hard disk, we this time we will press the add button because there is already a project on our hard disk and there's no need for creating a new one. And now in your workspace Unity folder, search for the project you just downloaded, HTC Vive Showroom, and then inside of our root folder, select this folder, and as you can see, it gets added here. Sometimes if you're using another version of Unity, like I did, for example 2.19.5.4 whatever, then there will be a message here telling you that you need to yeah, either download the same platform like I've used, the same Unity version, or select another one. What you can do here is just click on this little drop down here and then select the Unity version you would like to use. So in our case 2.19.3 is fine. So this took ages, yeah, because what I've done in my example project, I've already downloaded like the SteamVR plugin, Skybox plugin, or Skybox packages, and so on, so that you guys do not have to do everything step by step. So if we check out my scenes, so this one is located in Asset, Scenes, Personal Demo, Showroom. Let's open that one. And here we go. So now we can see what we've seen before in my screencast. So basically we have 3 different platforms here with different interactions. You might wonder where I got all these different interactions from, like how to press a button and how to drag and drop a slider and so on and so on. As soon as you download the SteamVR package from the asset store, there's a pretty nice scene in there, so maybe we can open that quickly. So in SteamVR, then interaction system, then under samples, then here interaction sample. You could see that there are already tons of different interactions which you can use. So what I've done, what you should maybe do as well at the beginning, is just check out what kind of interactions we have in this scene, and then maybe yeah, think about what you can use in your own showroom scene. So yeah, like shown here, there's even a longbow you can use, there are buttons, there are circular drives, linear drag and drop drives. So yeah, what I've done as well is went into the scene and checked out what kind of modules are there I can use. And yeah, that's basically the base setup of my scene. So let's go back, assets, scenes, to my personal showroom. And the cool thing about the SteamVR plugin or package in Unity is that even if you have no headset at home, or if nothing is connected to your PC, you can click on press. As you can see here with WASD, you can, okay, we need to end SteamVR because there's no headset connected at the moment, but with WASD you can also just move around in the scene with your keys, or with your keyboard, and then you can try out all the different interactions, but just dragging and dropping stuff with your mouse. So I've already implemented some things. So from our Blender tutorial, the donut we did there, so I imported an FBX file. I will show later on how that works. And yeah, I've added another little billboard here. And I will show you guys how to include videos later on. And then, as you can see down here, there's also this little angry cows scene we've made in my last tutorial. Okay, cool. But so, what are we gonna do today? Because I think for you guys it's probably pretty interesting of how you can build your own stuff in here. So that's what we want to do today. So if we go to Showroom, and then we have different levels, and we want to do stuff in our level 1. And first of all, what we're going to do is something pretty easy. So we want to add another station here, which yeah, just displays an image or a billboard for us. So let's go to level 1, create empty. Let's call it billboard. And yeah, let's place it first of all at 0, 0, 0 position wise, so that it sits in the middle of the center. And we've used these teleportation points here, so you can copy and paste them from the modules I already implemented here, but you can also search for them. So in our packages, teleport. Let's check again how they were called. Teleport point. And then there's a prefab you can just drag and drop inside of your game object. Let's position it 0, 0 and -1. Rotation can be removed as well. -1 because otherwise it will float a little bit in the air. So now it's nicely aligned to our bottom part. So let's move this whole billboard object somewhere over there, that it aligns nicely with the other modules we have here in our showroom. Cool. So what we want to do now is create, yeah, like a billboard. So basically only maybe a JPEG or a PNG, what we can display in this kind of area. So something super simple. We've already done it in the last tutorial, but I just want to do it again. So first of all, what we need for it is a canvas. But this time, because usually a canvas is something which sits on top of the screen, and then you can place your UI in there like we did the last time in our game. But this time it should be sitting in our scene. So what we need to make sure is to move render mode from screen space to world space. That means that our canvas is sitting inside of our 3D world. And then let's add an image. Let's call it maybe billboard image inside of our canvas. And now if you double click on the billboard image, you can see if you zoom out that everything is scaled yeah, to a pretty high level. So what you need to do, because usually the canvas is scaled to our screen size and pixel wise it's pretty big. Our game scene is pretty small if you compare it to that one. And what we can do is scale down our canvas. Oops. To 0.001. Let's set the position to 000 as well, that it sits inside of our billboard object. Now we can move it a little bit more up, that it aligns nicely with the other video panels and so on what we have over here. Okay, cool. Now let's add our first image. So you should usually add an inside of our assets folder, an image folder. It's already there because I've created the project. If not, feel free to add one. And now I will just add another image in here. So let's go into our folder on our pictures, and then maybe just add a screenshot here. Let's maybe rename it to billboard image. And now the only thing what we need to consider is that right now this is only in JPEG or in PNG, and we need to set the texture type here in your inspector to sprite, 2D and UI. That means that we can use our image now in 2D and UI components, and that's exactly what we want, because later on we want to attach it to our image object here, and that's why we need to convert it here. Hit apply. Then if we click on our billboard image, you can see that the source image sprite is none by now, so we can search for our billboard image here. Click on it, and here we go. Still pretty small at the moment. So what we want to do that the ratio is correct, put the correct width and height. So this one is full HD. And then, as you can see, the ratio is fine and it sits perfect in our game view. Don't forget to save your scene from time to time. But yeah, basically we've created our first little billboard here. Maybe let's test the scene out again, if everything works like expected and there are no issues. Okay, here we go. If you press T, you can test the teleportation stuff out. So if you press T and then move around, you can check if your hotspots are working or not. Okay, but the rest is fine. Let's go back into our scene view. Nice, so this is the first step of our tutorial. What we want to do now is just copy and paste the whole billboard, so that we are copying the teleportation area and the canvas. And what we want to do now is press Ctrl D to copy it and then move it over to this part of the stage. And now I want to show you guys how you can add a video object. So let's call it video billboard. And for that we need a canvas as well. So we can leave that like it is, exactly how it's scaled, that's fine. But now we can remove the image, and what we need here is first of all a video player component, which you can find here. And then what we need as well is a raw image. Why do we need a raw image? So to explain it in pretty simple words, the video player is just a component we can add a source clip to, but then the video player needs to send these images and or not only images and audio files somewhere that they can be displayed somewhere. And that's exactly what our raw image is doing. So our video player is just, let's call it like the DVD player, and our raw image is the display. What do we need for connecting those two? So what we need is called a render texture. Render textures can be applied to 3D objects, but also to 2D objects, and that's exactly what we want to do here. So a render texture is something you can send your, in this case, video informations to, and then you can apply this render texture to a 2D element, for example. Okay, let's do that. Let's go to Assets and then Render Textures and create our own render texture. There's already one of the panel you can see in the middle, but we will create our own. So create, and then let's search for render texture. Let's call it video billboard render texture. Oops, misspelling here. So, and what we can do now is, first of all, add a source to our video player or a video clip. This is a video clip. If you can, if you click on this little target icon here on the right, you can select one from within our assets. And I already added one, like a little showcase video from Graphic Anadol. And yeah, there are also a couple of presettings you can check here, like play on awake means that as soon as the scene gets loaded and as soon as the video player is part of the scene, the video gets played on awake. And then there's other stuff as well, like loop. And maybe what we want to do is mute the audio so that it just loops in the background and it's nicely looking, but not disturbing the scene with the audio. Okay, maybe what we can do is, or what we always should do is check the resolution of our video file. Yeah, you can do that here, or if you connect it here, you see the frames and the resolution as well here. So it's 180 by 1350. So our raw image, where we would like to render this video into, should have the same, at least the same ratio. Okay, so now, as you can see, render mode is render texture. That's cool, so that our images are sent to a render texture. And now we just need to select our showcase video render texture here. And then, because the raw image is still empty. The raw image needs a texture as well. And we can search for it. Showcase video render texture. And now you can already see that the video did send the first frame to our render texture, and it gets already rendered inside of our raw image. Yeah, and that's pretty much how you can add videos onto 2D canvas objects or raw image objects into our scene. Nice, let's save that, try to play it again. And here we go. We have a new video and a teleporting hotspot as well. And yeah, like I said, these are only examples, so you can do whatever you want with it later on. Add your own nice video showcases here, images, text elements, whatever. So, what's next? In our next step, we wanna add an audio source. Because the nice thing about Unity is that you can just place audio sources inside of your 3D scene, and the 360 audio system is already integrated. So you can easily just put different audio sources into the edges of the room or in the middle or somewhere. And if you move around with your player controller, the audio will be sent to your right and left ear depending on where you're standing, and that's pretty cool. So just that we have an example, let's create an empty here. Let's call it maybe boombox. Then right click again. As you can see, the boombox sits on 0, 0, 0, so in the middle of the stage right now, and then create audio source. It's even easier than working with the video panel, because the audio source just needs an audio clip. There are a bunch of audio clips already in my scene. If you want to add your own, just go to Assets, Sounds, and then just drag and drop your own MP3 in here. Yeah, at the moment, I don't know, just use the balloon pop sound. Yeah, and it's the same like for the video player, so we can enable play on awake here, that it automatically gets started as soon as the scene is running. And then maybe let's loop it as well. A super nice thing to play around with, especially in 3D, is this module in here. So if you move your reverb zone mix to fully 3D, then you can use these min and max distances here on the bottom, and we'll have a nice feedback here in our scene. So if you move the min distance and the max distance around, you can see that there's a sphere, and this sphere shows us at what certain point we will start to hear the sound. So as you can see, there's like a little graph here at the bottom part, and so if you move closer to our audio source, then the volume gets higher. And yeah, that's something pretty nice for especially 3D gaming scenes. So you can imagine if you have a campfire somewhere in the edge of your game scene, you would like to achieve that you hear it if you are pretty close to it, but maybe not in the other edge of the game field corner. So yeah, with this min and max distance, you can easily play around and try it out inside of your scene. And as soon as your player object is inside of this spherical area here, you will hear the sound. Okay, so that's it for the sound. Maybe let's move it a little bit more to the side here, that it doesn't start straight from the beginning. Okay, nice. Yeah, what's missing? The only thing what you might import from our latest tutorials are 3D objects, and that's pretty straightforward. So if you go to Blender, just make sure I can show you guys a little screenshot of how it looks like. Yeah, this is a part of my presentation. Just make sure that if you export an FBX file from Blender, that object type only mesh is selected. Otherwise, it will export all the empties, cameras, light settings, and so on and so on. But we just want to have the basic mesh by now and the materials. And then just export the FBX file, save it somewhere, and what you can do after that is just go to the assets models folder, and then, like I did here with my donut, just drag and drop the FBX file in here. And yeah, after that it's pretty straightforward. You can just drag and drop your 3D file somewhere into your scene and yeah, go on from there. And yeah, that's exactly what I did here with the shark and the donut. You can even export animations like I did for the shark here. The shark already had basic bone structure added, and yeah, so I was able to import the animation timeline for that as well. Thanks to Sasha, by the way, who did that one in Blender and also the animations. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it by now for the basics of how you can get your VR scene to run and how you can edit stuff here. So from there on, you can just go crazy, add your own stuff for our next session, add some nice content in here, change the whole scene, whatever. Just make sure that you have these teleportation hotspots everywhere, that you can reach everything within your VR scene and that everything makes sense. Yeah, last but not least, what we can do is as soon as we are finished with everything, click on File. Now we want to export our scene. Go into the build settings. And depending on what kind of platform you're running on, in my case it's Windows, so PC, Mac or Unix, this is already pre-selected. The Windows platform is pre-selected, and also the architecture target. And as you can see, there's nothing selected by now in our scenes and build view. So what you need to make sure is click on Add Open Scenes, and then the scene which is currently opened, my personal demo showroom scene, will be added to our build. And that means that this will be part of our Windows exe file, whatever you are exporting right now. Now let's click on Build and Run. And now what's important, make sure that you add in the root folder of your project another folder which is called Builds. Select that one, select folder, and then it starts to compile everything. If there are no errors. This takes a little bit, especially for the first time. If you do it later on, you only have minor changes in your scene that won't take as long as it takes right now. Okay. And yeah, if you wanna check out your scene later on without opening Unity or without editing it, now you can always start it out of your builds folder. So if you go to Unity, and then into the project just set up your builds folder. There's now always the Windows execution file. You can just double click on it and then start it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. The example project is added in the comment section as a GitHub folder or a GitHub link. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining, and hope to see you guys in my next tutorial as well.